Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a chatty get ready with me, and we are specifically going to be chatting about the birth story for my twins, Hank and Marin. So I thought I would get ready, put some makeup on. I haven't done that in a long time, and then I thought I would go over our birth story. So yeah, if you are interested in hearing about that, then just keep watching. I'm going to put my bangs back here so that they are out of the way with my little cute clips from Temu. If you watched that video, my Temu haul, they were in there. I haven't used these yet, so I'm kind of excited. So let's just split them down the middle here, twist them up, put a little clip in there. I know I look crazy, and that's okay. I just don't want them in my face. Trying to put makeup on. That's the one thing about having bangs that I hate, is there's times where, including putting makeup on, that I don't like them in my face, or like when I get really hot, it drives me nuts. Okay, so let's get started. So we're gonna start out with the Vitamins and C Beauty Smoothing Facial Serum, Blue Seed Kale Niacinamide drops. I just started kind of using these just to help my complexion a little bit. But anyway, what we're here for to discuss is the twins' birth story. If you didn't know, I had twins on October 14th of 2022, boy and girl. They were actually due December 16th, so they were 2 months early. And with twins, they usually do come early anyway. These guys came just a little bit early, but honestly, for being a plus size woman and having hypertension and type 2 diabetes, I was very proud of myself for making it as far as I did. Anyway, so we'll start. So it was, I'm not sure the exact date, but it was a Monday before they were born, the week they were born. And I had an appointment with my, let's back up. The Thursday before that they were born, we had an appointment with the perinatal office. They like specialize in high risk pregnancy, specifically the baby. And so we had an appointment with them, and they had noticed, and they had noticed this previously as well, that the blood flow to Marin was like her umbilical cord. It was like backflowing. I think that may not be the right term, but and they were noticing that like this flow altogether, you know, was like not, they weren't noticing it. And so I was going for weekly visits, and this time they were like, we want you to come back Monday instead of next Thursday. Like, you know, if Monday it's gone, then perfect. And then, you know, Monday, if it's not, you know, then we'll kind of go from there. So went to my appointment at the OB I went for my follow-up on Monday. I think everything was good then. And then, sorry, I'm trying to like recount all of this stuff. Oh, this is a moisturizer. What is it? The 111 Skin Y-Therium Day Cream. I don't know, but yeah, exactly. Anyway, so anyway, I feel like I'm just blabbing. Okay, so we go to my appointment, and they're monitoring this flow. We go to my appointment with my OB. They are like correlating with the perinatal people, and so we're like in the office or whatever, and we're talking to the OB like about like asking questions, and we're kind of like, you know, when do twins typically come? And I was at like 30 weeks that week, because they were born at 31 weeks. And she's like, you know, when you go back Thursday to the perinatal center, you know, she goes, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if you deliver then. And I was like, oh, okay, so like very soon. And so, you know, we were kind of a little bit prepared to possibly give birth Thursday. So my husband took the day off that Thursday that we were going, and that's when they the appointment said when you come back Thursday, so this must happen on a Monday. I'm sorry, this story's going all over. When we went Thursday, and she was doing the ultrasound lady was doing the ultrasound, and she left. She's like, I'm gonna go talk to the doctor. I'm gonna, you know, have him look over the ultrasound, and then, you know, he'll come in and talk to you, or, you know, you'll get to leave. So when she like left, I turned to Brent and I was like, she did not see what she wanted to see on that screen. Like, cause she was looking for a long time, and what they were looking for was Marin to do, the practice breathing, and she wasn't doing that. And she had previously been doing that. I'm going in, that was the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Perfector 4-in-1 Glow Makeup, and the shade 00 Fair Light. And so I was like, great, like that didn't go well. So he comes in, the ultrasound person comes in, I feel like there are like 2 nurses, I'm not sure, and he walks in and he's like, so I think we're gonna have some babies today. And I was like, oh, I kind of had an idea that was going to happen. And you know, of course we were like, oh my God, like I'll be 31 weeks tomorrow. Like that's early. We knew it was going to be early, but this is more early than we thought, you know? And I was like, so, are they safer out than in? And he said, yes. He said, at this point, you know, we aren't seeing the flow at all to Marin, and we're noticing it now in Hank. At this point, they're saying baby A and baby B, but they're noticing it in Hank as well. And so the best option was to take them. Like, it was time to go. And he's like, and I can't with good conscience say, okay, you know, let's just even wait till Monday and have you come back Monday. He said, I can't promise that they'll be there, you know, alive. And I was like, okay, that's all I need to hear. So let's go ahead and have these babies then. So honestly, at the time, I don't think it set in how kind of like urgent it was that they, you know, be delivered, and like, you know, like how bad things could have gone, honestly. Like, it's not good. I don't know the professional name of what it was, but like if you, anyway, I don't remember. It was just something with her, the umbilical cords, like the flow wasn't, it was like back flowing, and it could be dangerous it could have been dangerous for me. It's dangerous for them. All in all, not a good thing. So we're like, okay, like let's go over to the hospital. And so we are getting ready to leave the office, and the doctor comes running down, and he's like, wait a minute. He's like, I just wanted to let you know, he's like, we aren't gonna have them today. He goes, I need you to do another round of steroids before we do it, he said. And so you get 1 shot, and then the next 20, I think you have 24 hours, and then they give you the second one. That steroid really helps the babies develop their lungs, and also give me a magnesium drip, which I had both before when I was in the hospital previously, due to high blood pressure. And so I was actually lucky that I did end up in the hospital before I was giving birth, because the babies got 2 rounds of a steroid shot, which I think really helped them, being, you know, so premature. So they're like, okay, it's not going to be until tomorrow. And I'm like, okay. We were kind of bummed, because we both were like, oh my God, like the adrenaline was crazy. So we're like, okay. So I get admitted, it's about noon. I get my first shot of the steroid, and then I get the drip. And then, so that happens pretty much that night. They wanted them to be monitored all night on the Doppler. Well, we already knew how hard it was to get them on a Doppler, just because 1 second we'd get one of them, and then we'd try to go to the other one, we'd get that one, and the first one would come off. And it was just, that's how it was every time, even the first time that I was in there for the high blood pressure and stuff. So we already knew it was a hard thing to do. And so the nurse, or not the nurse, the OB that was on call, she was like, you know, the perinatalologist, whatever the heck, wants them to be on all night until you deliver. And I'm like, well, I don't know about that because it's never really worked for that long. So she's like, you know, we could end up taking them tonight if we can't get them on, for a long period of time. So she talked to the perinatal guy, and they ended up kind of compromising. First they took me for an ultrasound just to make sure everything was still going well. And it was, thank goodness. Again, at the moment, I don't think I realized how detrimental this time was. Like, how things could have gone downhill in a split fucking second. Oh, excuse me. In a split second, like, and they could be gone, like, with what they had going on. Or what we had going on. It was all of us. I mean, something could have happened to any one of us. And so everything was good. And so throughout the night, there were so many nurses that came in to try and get them on the Doppler, both at the same time. At one point, the doctor would be like, okay, we want at least an hour of both of them on. So then we'd have nurses come in and we'd have them switch every 15 minutes, holding the Dopplers down so that we could get a good reading. And so it was pretty much like that all night. Different nurses coming in, all of that. So I didn't get very much sleep, but I didn't think I was going to anyway. So the next morning we wake up and they're like, okay, you know, once you get your second shot, like, we're gonna go. And I was like, okay. So I wake up in the morning. I don't think I ate anything. I don't think you're allowed to eat when you have a C-section, which, by the way, I had a C-section. So then it was probably like 11, I want to say, when I got the second steroid shot. Once that was in, things started moving. They moved me to labor and delivery, and I was there, I think I was probably there an hour or two. I don't remember. It went by so fast, though. It didn't feel like an hour or two. And I should probably tell you, although you may not be interested, maybe you're just here for the birth story, but that was the Believe Beauty Concealer in Pearl. And so we moved there, had this other nurse, super nice. All of the nurses that I came in contact with pre-delivery were awesome. I cannot say enough good things about them. I'm taking the e.l.f. Flawless Brightening Concealer in Fair. And so she like went over everything with me. Like I said, the nurses were just awesome. And so anesthesiologist comes in, talks to me. He was very nice as well. And after he left, I was like, I am honestly afraid that I'm going to have a panic attack. I was like, because if I can't feel like the bottom half of my body, like, I feel like I'm gonna freak out and feel really claustrophobic. And I was like, I'm worried I'm gonna have a panic attack. So the nurse was like, you know, if that happens, that's totally okay. You know, we can't do anything until the twins get out for that. But once they're out, like, he can give you a dose of something, you know, if that happens. And so I pretty much just reiterated how nervous I was for this. And so we go back into, so they told us, you know, going back, you know, if everything is okay, we will come get Dad. And if everything is okay with the babies, once they come out, we will call Dad over, because there was an OR room, or maybe not an OR room, but a room next to the OR room that I was in, that the babies would be in. Each baby would have their own NICU team when they came out. And they said, if we end up having to put you under, completely under, unfortunately Dad can't come in. And they said, you know, that can be very normal for us to have to do, you know, to put you under, you know, if something goes wrong. It may not be like this horrible things, you know, it just happens. So we were prepared for that. They also said, you know, if things aren't going very well for the babies, you know, or they need more, or taking more to get them stable, we won't call Dad in. So we knew that going in, kind of what to expect. So we go in, they wheel me back there and get up on the table, and it's just, I've never been in an OR room before. And it's exactly what you think it looks like. I get on the bed and they're like, okay, like we're gonna put the spinal in. And I'm like, oh God, like I was really like, I was so nervous about what, like I thought I was gonna be paralyzed. Like I've heard so many horror stories about, not C-sections, well yeah, C-sections, but the spinal block or this, I can't think of the other word. This, I can't think of it. Because they were calling it a spinal block, which I think is different than what they use for like normal, like if you're giving birth vaginally. I can't think of the word. I cannot remember. Anyway, so I was very nervous about that. And so I'm sitting up there and the nurse, she had been there with me since I got to the labor side. And she like put her head up against mine and we were like head to head, and she had her hands on my shoulders and she's like, okay, we're gonna breathe. Breathing and just focusing on my breathing literally is what got me through it. And I've never done that before, but it was so beneficial to just literally focus on breathing. That is all I was doing. And she was so like talking like everything's okay, everything, you know, she just was very talkative and communicative about what was going on. So it was an anesthesiologist. It went in, like it burned a little bit and then it was over, and it was so quick. And so I lay down quick and I'm, you know, moving up, and they're like, oh, well, we need you to move a little bit more. And I'm like, I can't. I was like, nothing's working down there. And they're like, that's okay, we'll move you up. So they moved me up where they needed me to be. They put the shield up because I'm like, I don't want to see any of that. I don't think I could do that. And I just, it was just the craziest feeling to not feel your bottom half. And I did not have a panic attack. I did not freak out, thank goodness. Like I don't even know how to explain it. Like it was so, the way that I've been explaining it is it was so peaceful. Like the whole C-section and their birth was so peaceful to me. And I don't know how to explain it. Like it just, I've never felt so at peace and like just like everything is okay. And you know, they're like, there were a few nurses there that were talking to me and being like, okay, Joyce, this is what we're gonna do. You know, everything's going great down here. They were so awesome. So they're down there, and then I hear, you know, one comes up and she's holding my hand and saying everything's going good. And she's like, we're about ready for Dad to come in. And I'm like, okay, good. Like everything's going good because Dad gets to come in. So Brent comes in, and it was just even more peaceful having him there. Like, sorry, I'm not gonna start crying, sorry. It was, I don't know, like just, I remember just laying there and just smiling at him and just being like, oh my God, like this is crazy. And okay, I need to do some, let me take a break for a minute. It was, yeah, it was the craziest, most calming experience that I've ever had. And it's like, and I know that that's not how it is for a lot of women, and I don't know why it was for me, but I am just grateful that it was just crazy. So then he's there. I'm going to take the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. This thing is so old. Like it expired a long time ago, but I still have it and it still smells good, so I'm gonna use it. So I'm gonna go in with the white peach up here. So he's there, they're doing everything, and they're just like telling me again what's going on. And then they're like, okay, you know, here baby A is coming out, which is Hank. And I could hear him crying, and I was just like, oh my God, like he's crying. Like, I can't believe it. And again, nothing, I felt nothing, and I couldn't believe that I couldn't feel anything. Like they were taking a human out of me and I felt nothing. Like it literally just felt like maybe someone was like lightly touching me, like, and that's it, if anything. And then like they were talking like it was just every day. Well, because they do it every day, but I was just like, how are you guys so calm? Like you're bringing a life into the world and you're talking about car insurance. Like I was just in awe over it. Like I couldn't, It was crazy. And so they took Hank, and then it was literally a minute later, he was born at 1 o'clock and p.m. And then Marin came next. And I remember not hearing her because I remember them saying she was out, and I remember not hearing her at all. And I remember asking, like, why is she crying? Like, why isn't she crying? And I remember asking it, and then I don't remember worrying one bit about, like, I said it, and then it was, you know, they took her over to the other room, and I don't remember even worrying about it, which is not like me at all. I'm taking peaches, or no, I'm taking, yeah, peaches and cream down here. Gonna go on the outer eyelid. So yeah, so they take her over there, and I still just remember being in this like magical, peaceful place. Like, and Brent took a picture of me where you can just see like I'm not crying, but like you can just see the tears and the happiness in my eyes. I just was so at peace. Like, I don't even know. It was just the craziest thing. And so they're back there, and then they come out, and one of the nurses says, "Dad, do you want to come back?" I was like, oh my God, that everything's okay. Like, I was fully expecting, I was expecting them to not let him go back, and that there were, you know, things were going to be wrong. And I was just like, oh my God. And so he got to go over to the next room where they were getting him ready to move up to the NICU. And they came out with Hank first, and they said, okay. And he was in like a box, kind of like they're in kind of in the first time when they're in those little isolates. And they let me see him, and I didn't get to hold him or anything, but he was in the little box, and he was so cute, just a little guy. And they're like, okay, we're gonna go, we're gonna head up to the NICU. And again, Dad was able to go because everything was, you know, they were stable. So he went up with him to the NICU, and then pretty much right after that, then Marin came, and they showed me Marin, and they went upstairs. Dad, he got some pictures of them up there, up in their NICU room, and he was up there for a little bit, and then he came back and sat with me for a little bit, and then they're like, okay, you know, we're gonna, actually no, I don't know if he did get to come back with me. Either way, he ended up back in the recovery room. And so then they're, you know, telling me again, you know, everything's going great, we're almost done. And then I'm gonna take this nectar here. They're like, you know, everything's almost done. And then they're like, okay, you know, we're done. And so they moved me back to the room I was in before, the recovery room. And I remember being wheeled in there, and my mom was like just coming back from going outside. She goes, "You're done already?" Like, we thought, they kind of had us thinking it was going to be like a 2-hour long thing. It was not. It was very fast. I honestly think they thought there was going to be some sort of complication just with me being diabetic and overweight and high blood pressure and all that. So I think they were quite surprised by that. And I remember my mom like sitting down, and she goes, "You did it!" And I just was like laying there, and I'm like, yeah. I was just like, I didn't even know how to feel at that point. Like, I was just in this like euphoria of magicness, and then like it was over, and I don't think I knew how to feel. I think I was overwhelmed. I just didn't know how to feel. And yeah, it was crazy. Then my dad came and saw me like literally right after. Brent took him up to go see them up in the NICU. So he was the first one who got to see them, outside of us, obviously. And so then, I'm trying to remember. So then they're like, so then they wheeled me down. At first they weren't sure if I was going to go back up to, I think they call it antepartum. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but when I went into the hospital the first time with complications with my blood pressure and stuff, that was where I stayed, on that side with kind of like where you go in, like if you have an emergency when you're pregnant and all that. But anyway, they didn't know if they were going to send me there, like if I was going to need special attention, or if I was going to go down to mom and baby, where every normal people go. I'm going to take this cobbler color and just do the outer, very outer corner. So everything was fine. I was fine. Thank goodness. They took me to baby mother. They're like, you know, we can take you. This must have been before they took me down there. They're like, we can take you in this bed, like in the recovery room. We can take you up to see them. But if we do, they're like, you can't stay very long because this bed is very big. They're gonna like wheel the bed in there. They're like, or you can wait like an hour or two, go down, eat something, and then you can go up there like with a wheelchair and go up there and stay for as long as you want. So I was like, okay, like let's just go down to baby mother floor. That's like where the nursery is and everything, which that's not, they weren't there, obviously. They were up in the NICU. So I went down, got something to eat, laid there for a little bit, and then I was like, got some medicine. And I was like, okay, I'm ready to go up there and see them. Like, I really didn't get a good look. It was, you know, they ran by me with them. And so Brent and I went up there. Because at first they're like, oh, well, let us know. The nurse will, you know, take you up there. And I'm like, I don't need the nurse to take me. My husband can push me. And so we went up there and we went at a great time. It was the time that they were doing like their little, they call them cares, where they like change them, take their temperature, all that stuff. And so that is what time it was when we got up there. And they're like, do you want to do them? And I was like, heck yes I do. After I literally just had a C-section, I probably shouldn't have been doing it, but I did. I just sat in my wheelchair. They lowered it down for me, for me to be able to reach and change them. I think I changed Marin first. So yeah, that was really all. We could only touch them. We couldn't hold them or anything. I can't remember how long we had to wait to be able to hold, like actually hold them. So we got to do that. I think Brent obviously changed Hank. And then we stayed up there for a little while, and then I'm not sure what time we came back down, but we went back down, tried to sleep as best we could, and then we were right back up in the NICU. I think we hung out there for a little bit. We'd come downstairs so I could get my next dose of medicine. That was pretty much what we did until I was discharged. When I was discharged, I will say that the nurses on the baby mother baby floor were not as attentive as any of the nurses I had dealt with up until this point. Very chillax. Like, it was like I was no longer high risk anymore. And you know, I got the regular, you know, I had to call for my medicine. I had to call for my blood sugar to be taken, where before people were in my room every hour, like they're on it. And after that, no more. I'm going to take this Luscious color here and put on my eyelid. So that's pretty much how it was. I got to leave. I think you had to stay 2 or 3 nights. I stayed the time that I had to. And they were like, you know, if you want to, you can stay an extra night since they're in the NICU. And I'm like, no. I'm ready to go now. I don't need to stay again. Like, I'm gonna see my babies whether I'm admitted here or not. So, yeah. So, we get discharged, we go up, hang out with the babies, and that's what we did for the next 42 days. We literally, would come home every night, I should say. We'd get up there. It really depended. Towards the end, we weren't getting up there till like 11 or noon because we just were so tired. I cannot explain to you how tired and exhausted I was. Like, I guess parents will know what I'm talking about. Like, new parents, like how exhausting it was. Like, they may not have been at home, but literally traveling every day an hour and a half to see them was so much, but we wanted to be home for the dog. Sorry, my camera shut off. We wanted to see the dogs still. They're like our babies, and you know, we weren't gonna do anything different just because we had human babies. So we'd come home every night. We'd go to the NICU every day for 42 days. It was exhausting. We were just talking about it last night. Or was it this morning? I was like, I was just thinking how exhausted I was and how you were when they were in the NICU. I was like, I would take this kind of tired over that any day. Like we were exhausted. Like, yeah, it was crazy. So then they came home. Maren came home on Thanksgiving, and Hank came home the very next day. And yeah, now they are, oh my gosh. So I'm not even like, I feel like halfway done with my makeup, and I'm almost done with the story. Now I'm taking the Maybelline Fit Me in 332 Golden Caramel. And I just use that as a bronzer. What was I saying? They're home now, obviously. It was so hard to leave the NICU because we were so used to it, and I didn't have to worry about, you know, anything going wrong. And if it did go wrong, like, they were exactly where they needed to be. And so it was, oh, I was a mess. I was a mess when they had to come home, even though I was ready for them to come home, but like at the same time, I was like, what the heck? How are we? I don't know how to take care of two babies. And yeah, the NICU was so comforting to us, and we were very scared, but we had great nurses. Again, NICU nurses are the best nurses there are. And yeah, I had a really hard time. I was like, I just want them to be in the NICU again. I know they're safe there. They know what they're doing there. It was hard. It was really, really hard. And I still sometimes miss it. Like, just because we really connected with one of the nurses there that they had towards the end. And she just, I don't know, like, it was like if she wasn't worried, then I wasn't going to worry about anything. And, you know, and then if she got worried, then, you know, it's time to worry type thing. And she was just awesome and helped us. It made us feel so confident, especially me. I was not feeling confident. I was so scared to pick them up. I just didn't want to break them. They were so tiny, like even tinier than a normal baby. And yeah, we just had a great nurse. Don't get me wrong, there were a few nurses we did not like, but for the most part, we enjoyed the nurses that we had. I'm gonna try to blend this out a little better. Actually, I feel like I'm doing things backwards here. I'm getting myself caught up here. I didn't even set my face. What the heck am I thinking? I'm taking, what is this? This is the Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder in Fair 05. So we'll go over it instead. That'll hopefully tone it down a little. I didn't even do it in my eyes. What the heck? What am I thinking? So yeah, the twins are now 4 months. So the NICU, I think most of the time, don't quote me, they will send NICU babies to child serve, just to like monitor their development, because as a preemie, they are going to be behind. That's pretty normal for them to be behind developmentally. And we just had our first appointment with them last week. So helpful. I'm really glad that that's something that they do and like send a referral for. Because with preemies, if you don't know, they go by adjusted age. So they take however old the baby is, and then you minus how early they were. So in our case, they were 2 months. You would take their age minus 2 months, and then that's their adjusted age. So their adjusted age is like what they developmentally, how they are. Again, don't quote me. That's just how I understand it. And so technically, developmentally, they are 2 months old. But chronologically, they are 4 months. But they are doing what 2-month-old babies are doing. So they aren't quite cooing yet. They aren't quite, I'm trying to think what else. They don't quite like make eye contact with you yet and like smile at you. But the child serve people are like, that's pretty normal. Like they're pretty on track for their adjusted age is what they said. Hank does have, paleo, I don't know, pretty much he has a flat spot head from how he was laying inside. And I think he was laying like this a lot to his right. And so then I think on top of that, having Marin on top of him, he really couldn't move his head as like he wanted to. So he does have, I believe it's called torticollis in his like neck muscles. So when he came out, he just always preferred this side because he never stretched these muscles out. So he can turn his head, he just prefers not to because it's very tight there. So he is starting physical therapy next week. And then he most likely will have to get a little helmet. I feel so bad, but he's gonna look so cute. He's gonna be so cute in it that he'll have to wear for a little bit. So, and child service also, he had a CT scan just to make sure that it wasn't anything wrong like with his actual skull. And he just had that and everything was fine. So, I'm taking the Believe Beauty Makeup Perfecting Setting Spray to set everything. Okay, so that's coming up for him. So far, Marin, she's just, Hank is a little more like he sometimes will make eye contact with you and like smile if you make him smile, but still not like every time. Marin, on the other hand, not quite yet. They both are making noises, but not like cooing or anything. But so far, she's just tiny. She was born, I guess I didn't say how much they weighed. Hank weighed, Hank weighed 3.6 pounds. Marin weighed 2.9 pounds. So she was always little. She was the second one to be found. At first we just saw Hank. And then I think I was 10 weeks when we found Marin. And she was kind of always the stubborn one, which very on brand for her. She has been the way she is. She's not faltered from how she was in the womb. She's very independent, very sassy. Like she'll let you know when she does not like something. She is a girl after my own heart, so let me tell you. I'm just taking that Luscious color again that I put all over my lid. I'm just kind of putting it in the corner of my eye. Okay, so I just have my mascara to do and do my eyebrows real quick, just like gel them down. And then I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. I also forgot to do highlighter. So I used my Jaclyn Hill, or just Jaclyn Cosmetics, sorry, Brighten Up Luminous powder for my highlight, just on tops of my cheek, chin, nose, all that good stuff. I used the Worth the Hype by NYX mascara. And I used on my lips this NYX Filler Instinct, plumping lip gloss in Cheap Fills. Very like metallic. I don't know if you can see it, but it's kind of tingling right now, which that's what we want. And then I just put in those little clips, pull back a little in my hair. I don't know if you can see it very well, but that's what I did. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was entertaining and you learned a little bit about our babies and how they came into the world. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.